Good afternoon. Welcome back to AssemblyTV. Special last-minute interview with some guys from Renderfarm.fi, the big ugly render project, and the producer of Snowblind, who I'll introduce separately now. We have Janus Kristensen of the big ugly render project, or BURP, as it's colloquially known. We have Kalle Max Hofmann, of the producer of Snowblind, a film made on the collaborative film production site Renderfarm.fi. And we have Julius Tuomisto, did I get that right? Tuomisto?
Yes. Yeah.
Of Renderfarm.fi, a distributed platform for and community site for 3D rendering, all kinds of rendering, I guess. Yes. So first, just let's start with the fundamental technology that makes all this possible, that facilitates this kind of community. Tell us all about the big ugly render project. Why is it so big? Why is it so ugly?
Well, it's kind of big because it involves a lot of computers, and the computers that are involved are computers that people bring to the project and attach to the project. It's computers like your computer and my computer at home, and they do rendering, they do computing, which would otherwise be very hard to do for people. So for instance, for movies like Avatar, you have a big visual effects studio doing 100,000 processing cores. They're just turning out lots of frames that way. But you can't do that if you're an independent artist. You have to do something else.
Yeah.
So basically, the idea was to hook up a lot of computers from around the world and use the otherwise idle power from those computers to do the same thing.
Okay, cool. So I wondered how long it would take us to get to Avatar.
Yeah.
But the first thing that comes into my mind is, you know, a commercial movie production house is going to be very protective of their intellectual property and what
Absolutely.
they're working on. If you are working on something that you hope will have commercial potential, does the BURP system obfuscate or encrypt the data?
No, because the whole system is based on open ideas. Okay. So basically, the programs are open. We're using the open source Blender rendering engine, 3D engine, and we're using Boink, which is also open source, which is a platform for doing this kind of distributed computing.
Okay.
And when you send files to people, well, they can look into the files and see what's inside. And actually, that's part of the cool thing about this kind of project is that it's community based.
Okay.
It's not closed down or DRM protected in any way.
Okay. Well, that makes sense to, I guess, a lot of people here at Assembly. You know, the types of communities that are drawn to places like Assembly, I think that makes quite a bit of sense. And we were talking yesterday with one of the founders of the Pirate Bay, and Peterson views the Pirate Bay as art. He was explaining to us, and I think it's interesting that, you know, you've now got the basis for a collective distributed platform similar to the file sharing in the Pirate Bay, and it is for making art. So just to go to somebody who's made art with this, Kalle, you made Snowblind on Renderfarm.fi.
Yeah, exactly.
How did you find that collaborative process?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, we were inspired in the first place by Starek, of course, who are also the founders of Renderfarm. And yeah, it's a great way to make an expensive or good-looking film without having to have the money.
Yeah.
And yeah, we also wanted to create something fantastic that you haven't seen before. In our case, a post-apocalyptic spaghetti western with cowboys and motorbikes. And so we could never afford something like Avatar, and so everybody worked for free. And that's why I think there's no point in encrypting anything or something, because when we put the film online for free, so all the people who've worked for it can also see it for free. That's just fair, you know.
Cool. So do you think that you had more involvement from more people because you were doing it like this?
Sure, definitely.
And that must gather a momentum for
example, we did our film in the green screen technology, so we just filmed the actors and all the backgrounds are computer generated and also made from photos. And through Renderfarm, we got photos from all over the world, like Norway, Finland, or even Mexico, places we could have never gone without a budget, you know. And so that was a great experience and helped to make the film look really epic in a way.
Cool, cool. Well, Julius, you run Renderfarm.fi, which I guess is how would you describe it? Would you describe it as a test case as well as a sort of
it's basically what we've done is basically we've taken Janus has been developing his site since 2004 actually, and what we've done is actually we're trying to now connect Janus's technology basically with filmmakers like Kalle, and we're trying to make it as accessible as possible.
Okay.
And that's basically what we've done is actually we've integrated since actually Kalle was making his film, he actually got some Blender people in, and we're actually basically integrating Blender with Janus's technology and kind of bringing it into a kind of a new accessibility level. So it's trying to kind of achieve easier use of the service for whatever people who need this kind of rendering power.
Okay. I mean, open source software is, in a sense, it's only just started to become cool. In other words, accessible to people who wouldn't otherwise be interested in open source software. It now looks good. You know, the Blender webpage looks good. I still don't really understand Blender very well, but it looks good. So do you think that the key thing then is acting almost as an intermediary between the technology that you don't want artists to have to understand and a means for them to do stuff, to just get going with it?
Basically, I guess it's a kind of a function of integrating these existing communities maybe together, and actually that's what we've been trying to do, and what we're actually now achieving in a couple of weeks. We'll actually be publicizing this kind of integration between Rekamovie.com and Renderfarm.fi, and actually what we're doing also is Kalle Max's new film production, Vampyre Princess 3D, will be actually a part of this process of trying to reach to the film community with actually this rendering power and the need for. So we're kind of trying to give people who actually before they participated in the creation of the movie, now they can actually also participate in the rendering of the movie.
Yeah, so it sounds like a really interlocking process, and you've got 3 levels here. You've got the foundation technology, you've got the facilitation, and then you've got the production. And do you think this is a sustainable model for?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because you were asking earlier, when do we get to the avatar level?
Yeah.
Well, the technology is actually already at the avatar level, because the #1 supercomputer in the world has only half the power that the combined BOINC projects have right now.
Yeah, sure.
So we can go pretty far on the technology side. It's the accessibility side and actually getting people to know this and try this out.
Yeah, I mean all the various ethical implications of this kind of sharing are, are discussed by everybody for all sorts of other reasons as well. I won't go into those, but how do you find? I mean, you mentioned on the site that you ask people not to submit, I guess, kind of trivial projects too much, so that everybody else can have a fair chance of doing something a bit more unique. Do you find that people are generally just polite and courteous, or do you have to enforce a certain kind of community?
Yeah, basically, of course, since we publicized this integration for Blender, actually the use percentage for the site has actually gone up pretty high, pretty much, but this does have this kind of adverse effects where people actually want to test the service, and they send of trivial things that actually would be probably better rendered on their own machines.
But I think actually the problem is to understand the power that you get with this kind of system. Because most people aren't used to having 10,000 machines connected to them.
They don't know what to do with it.
No, exactly.
I'll make a cube.
So they send in this standard cube, and it's done in 12 seconds, and wow.
So you've really overtaken some people's expectations, and okay. Cool. So we've just got a little bit of time left, 30 seconds. As a producer, what do you think people should do if they want to get started on this? Should they go and download Blender?
Yeah, sure. I mean, they should install the BOINC client, I'd say. And we got big stuff coming up, because now we saw that Blender can actually achieve real production quality, that is comparable to Hollywood, or even better, because people put more enthusiasm in. We can plan on that, in the current film we had like 10 Blender shots that were realized through Rekamovie, and now we know that, and we can plan to have much more impressive shots, and even stereoscopic in 3D, and this for a little money, and this is going to be, I think a real huge thing. So we're really
and I guess the expertise kind of accumulates as well, and
it builds up with every step, basically.
Cool, awesome. Well, that's it then. That's all the time we have. But thank you all for joining me, and everybody should go and check out Renderfarm.fi and the BURP project, the Big Ugly Rendering project, and look at Snowblind on rackamovie.com. And thank you to my guests. And we'll be back later with more stuff. Thank you.